All right. You hear us good? All right.
Hi, can you hear me?
All
All
right.
right.
Welcome to Frontline Manor. I'm your host, Kevin Stewart, Mr. Do Right, if you did not know. And I have a special guest with us. I don't know if you recognize this man.
Maybe, maybe not.
This is Manor's police chief, Chief Phipps, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Ryan
Yeah, boy,
Phipps,
I've been
yeah.
practicing all day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold myself back from calling you Phillips. I'm like, I
I,
know your
I
name
get
is
it.
not Phillips.
Every day of my life, I do it. Every day of my life. So
Ah,
I wouldn't blink an eye at it. I
okay.
keep going.
Well, I promise you I want to do it because I've been practicing all day. So how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Been here all day.
Yeah.
Working crazy. We're trying to get this, growing city
Oh man,
in the right direction.
it keeps growing on y'all, and the traffic keeps growing, and I
Yeah.
guess y'all job keeps getting harder and harder every day, huh?
Yeah, yeah, every day. Every day the city's like, oh, we're going to build these more houses, and I just, oh boy, here we go, more houses, more apartments. And I said, okay, well, it must be for something, I guess.
Real quick, which one's harder, houses or apartments?
For us,
Yes.
professionally, I would say apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, statistically, an apartment complex, you have more people in a tighter space.
Mm-hmm.
You have more neighbors that get mad at each other. You got
Okay.
one upstairs, one downstairs. That one's playing music too loud. That one's walking too
Too
heavy.
hard.
Yeah, and so guess who they call? They call us.
Oh man! And now I guess since they're gonna have more restaurants coming, they're gonna have more calls about drive-through service.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we get those. If you imagine it, we get it.
Oh
Yeah, we get a little bit of everything, but for the most part, everyone's good. I think people get frustrated with the traffic and then pull off and go have a cold iced tea at Chili's or something.
I hope so. And they got pretty good service at Chile, so
Yeah.
yeah. So tell us about yourself. Are you from Manor?
No, I grew up in the hill country just outside of San Antonio.
Okay.
I started my law enforcement career in Gonzales, Texas.
Okay, I heard of
straight
that.
down 183 from Austin. I moved up here. I moved to Manor in 2008. I had a friend of mine that worked for Manor Police Department, and he said, "You got to come out here. This place is getting ready to blow up. It's gonna be big."
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Okay, well let me toss that around." So I came out. I went to lunch with the then chief of police. His name was Robert Snyder. Robert was the chief here for 24 years.
Wow.
So he saw a lot. I've seen a lot too in my time here, but 24 years. It was a one horse town back then.
For real.
So I came and I had lunch with him, and I said, "You know what? This is I'll give this a go."
Mm-hmm.
I love Gonzales, and it had a lot of the same vibe and characteristics, and I really liked it, and I still love it. I love this community. So I've been here since 2008 is when I came to work for Manor PD. I want to say we were about 12 to 15 then. When I took over as chief, December 1st of this year will be my 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
As chief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And when I took over as chief, we were either 18 or 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just got approved for new positions, and so as of October 1st, we'll be 57.
Wow.
Yeah. So a little bit of growth in my time here.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun, and we have an outstanding team. So yeah, I grew up outside of San Antonio. I have two sisters. My parents have both passed, but I have a sister in Austin, and a sister is still down in San Antonio area, and nieces and nephews. Come from a very large family, so lots of cousins and nieces and nephews that are all great.
Okay.
And a long, long line of San Antonio firefighters. I'm the only cop.
Really?
So I get a little bit.
You get razzed a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Why didn't you want to be a firefighter?
I don't know. I grew up around all of them and in firehouses. And when I was I want to say it was kindergarten, could have been first grade, I went to a Catholic school in San Antonio, and I joined a youth baseball team.
Okay.
And the team that I got placed on, the coaches were all San Antonio police officers. And there was something about them that I just idolized, and I saw something in them, and so I remember from a young age, I was like, that's what I want to do. I don't want to spend my nights in a firehouse, with nothing against my firefighter brothers and sisters, but I just I was they carried themselves very, with integrity and just had a good vibe to them, and so I ever since then, it was that single thing, just playing baseball and t-ball with some coaches,
Wow.
influenced me. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a really good story.
Yeah. Thanks. So I started Gonzalez and made my way up here and came to Manor. We were, the police department that I was in when we started was down where the smoke shop is. So
Okay.
City Hall, and the next little section was the police department, and then the next little section was the public works and development services. And then beyond, so there was two desks. There was a public works person in there and a development services. And just beyond that, there was a solid door, and then there was our evidence room. And so you walked into that office, and it smelled like marijuana so bad. And I said, "How do y'all sit in here and work all day, smelling like smelling this?" And they said, "We're fine in here. I don't know what you're talking about." But that was a different day. But that building now, it's funny because that building is now a smoke shop. So full circle, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. I got some questions here. Want to ask you. And the first question is, can you give us an overview of the current state of public safety in Manor? What are your most important things residents should know about crime trends and safety in our city?
Sure. First off, we have a pretty safe community. We have
Okay.
issues here and there, but they're no different than Hutto and Round Rock and Kyle and Buda. We all kind of face the same issues. Crime trends, you kind of see it changing on the time of year. As we're coming into the fall, closer to Christmas time, we always tell people porch pirates. You get a lot of deliveries for Christmas holidays and things on porches, or real pretty wreaths on doors. We get a lot of people that come through and grab that again.
Wow, they stealing wreaths off of
Yeah,
doors?
they'll steal your wreath.
So wow.
Tie that thing down.
Wow.
Yeah, so that time of year, during the summertime, we see an increase of car burglaries and auto theft. And so with that, we tell people, make sure that you lock your doors. We have a lot of car break-ins. There's a lot of videos online of these kids or people that are walking around neighborhoods. All they do is lift door handles, right? And the most frustrating situations when we go to those is when we have somebody call and they say, "My car has been broken into and my pistol was in there and they got my pistol." And, we go to those calls and there's no broken window. And what that means is that door was unlocked and you left the pistol in there, and now we have possible criminals that have, access to a firearm.
Right.
And so we preach to people, please just make sure that you keep your car doors, locked. If you have valuables, take them in or hide them, and that will help yourself not become a victim to one of these, guys walking through neighborhoods lifting door handles.
Yeah, going through your ashtray, stealing your change and stuff. Yeah,
And
it's easy. That's easier than going to somebody's house or something.
Yeah, so easy. And we have those situations where cars get broken into, and they go in there and they take the pocket change out of the cup holder, and be like, I'm not going to report that. I'm not going to call the police. I can't. I got to get to work. Whatever. We ask that you still report that, even though it may be a few dollars of change missing, because we work off of statistical data, and so we need to know that's a little dot on our map that there was crime there. Well, if you're one of the dots and there's 15 other dots in your neighborhood, we may need to pay some more attention to that, right? And so we encourage people to let us know where the crime is happening, even if it's just a few dollars of change in your vehicle. Because that gives us the know-how or the knowledge to make sure we tell our officers where they need to be or spend more time.
Right. You can follow the trends.
Right.
That way you can maybe correlate to where this coming from, or
Right.
maybe even finding a suspect.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And we have a crime analyst on staff with the department, and her whole job is to take those crime statistics and crunch them, and she can get information on where maybe the next crime is going to be committed.
Wow. So when you started, did y'all have a crime analyst?
No.
Wow. So this is somebody you brought in.
Yeah.
Okay.
We brought in a crime analyst. It's a very important piece to a growing department.
Okay.
She is very educated, and she takes numbers from all sorts of things and all sorts of data, and she has this whole network of the Pflugerville crime analysts, Austin Police Department. We're a member agency of ARC. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
No.
ARC is the Austin Regional Intelligence Center.
Okay.
And so that's their crime analyst, and so being a member of that, our crime analyst works with their crime analyst. So their crime trends, if we have somebody that a bank got robbed over here, and then one of our banks gets robbed and it has similarities,
right?
We try to tie all that stuff together.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, crime analyst is a big deal for us to have, and luckily, our city council supported and saw the need and the benefit of having that available to us. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot going on over here.
Yeah. And back to the crime.
Right.
We have a pretty safe community. We aren't without problems.
Right.
Drugs. We have drugs. Drugs are everywhere. Unfortunately, they may look a little different than they do over here, and but everyone is dealing with some sort of drug issue in communities. With that, we always tell parents, just make sure you're aware of what your kids are doing.
Right.
Be involved with your kids, know what they're doing, and if you find out they're doing something, and in the whole argument of legalization of marijuana, uh, that's a personal choice thing. If you take a gummy to go to sleep, and I don't ever have to deal with you, good luck to you. But at the end of the day, if your kids are using drugs, that's the moment to step in and try to help them step away from that.
Okay.
So,
do y'all see a lot of migration of crime coming over from Austin?
So you see different types of crime come from Austin. So DWI is a crime, right? Somebody's making a decision to drive after they've become impaired by alcohol or drugs. Right?
Okay.
And that decision is made, and therefore they're making a decision to put other people and themselves at risk, making our public roadways unsafe. And so when APD went through their staffing crisis after the pandemic, they lost their DWI team. The officers solely dedicated to addressing that issue. So after that, we saw an increase to our DWI numbers. And if I had the statistic in front of me, we take breath specimen when it's provided, or we take a blood specimen.
Okay.
And so every one of our DWIs, we get a number of how intoxicated they are. And unfortunately for us, our numbers are extremely high.
Really?
But it goes to show that our officers are only arresting people who are truly impaired. They're building their cases following these cars, or getting information from people calling 911 that this person's driving on the wrong side of the road, or however the situation is that we encounter an intoxicated driver. But the numbers are frightening, and I'd say that we are lucky. APD is now staffing some DWI officers, but not all of them come from APD. We grow some here in town, and we have a great relationship with the institutions that are here that serve alcohol.
Okay.
And we work with them to ensure that that they don't overserve people. And then, but you see them come from Pflugerville and Round Rock and other people's homes in Austin, or in house parties, and there's an array of places that they come from, and we try to track all that data.
Okay.
and so you do see certain things come from other places. We get a lot of stolen vehicles,
Okay.
right? We get stolen vehicles. We get most of those come from Austin, or most of them come from the Pflugerville area, Round Rock, and so they come in here. They commit crime. A lot of times if they're trying to break into cars, the car that they're in that they know is going to be on everybody's camera might possibly be stolen, right? They're coming to our Walmart to do something bad. There might be in a stolen vehicle.
Okay.
So we see things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We're in there.
So most of your DWIs happen on 290.
The majority of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna see where the denser the population of traffic, the more we're gonna get called, the more they're gonna, run into the back of another car, run off the road and hit a tree, or they're going to, get the attention of a DWI officer, maybe swerving all over the road. So I would say the majority of them are 290.
Okay. Well, we're gonna switch gears real quick. Um, the ICE situation in America.
Yeah.
Is that something that y'all deal with?
Immigration wise,
Right.
yeah, immigration is not anything that we deal with, and I'm going to preface it with
Okay.
at this time.
Okay.
Uh, Elected officials are on a mission to try to have local law enforcement, whether that be the county sheriff's department and constable's officer or local police departments, play a role in that. And as much as I am not political in my decision making, in my professional role, I don't think that it is something that we should be a part of. I think that that's a responsibility of the federal government, because we're the ones that are out here that have to take a report from a mother whose daughter may have been raped by somebody. And if they're from an immigrant community, they won't come to us if they have fear that we're going to deport them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we have a crime to solve. We have a rapist that we may need to capture, right? And so I want her and her daughter to come and feel comfortable talking and reporting a crime to us. One, so we can get that mother and that daughter victim services and on a right path to recovery because it's traumatic, right? But two, to have them served as a victim and ensure that we catch who victimized them and put them through the criminal justice system.
Okay. Yeah. So, just to say, if if it was brought down to y'all to start enforcing the immigration laws, how much of a strain would that put on your department?
Well, that depends on what exactly they would have us do. We are already a very busy police department.
Okay.
We have a lot of calls for service. Statistic wise, on traffic stops and calls for service, so if you call 911, that's what we call a call for service. Our officers interacted officially on traffic stops and calls for service with about 70,000 people last year.
Okay, wow.
And so we're a busy agency, and that doesn't that statistic does not encounter or doesn't take in the community portion of our officers. We want our officers to spend time with our community, with coffee with cops. So we have a number of community programs where we want our officers to have a relationship with somebody in their community when it's not writing them a ticket.
Right.
When it's not them there taking a report because their car got broken into. We want them to get to know each other, right? And so that doesn't account all of those interactions outside. But in an official capacity, on a traffic stop or on working a collision or coming to somebody's house to take that report, we dealt with 70,000 people. So if you throw on top of that additional responsibilities of immigration enforcement that has historically been handled by the federal government, it would put a huge strain on the department.
Okay.
Which that rolls downhill. That would require us to hire more people. It would require us, facilities and vehicles, and so those expenses are far beyond just the officer's time
Right,
to
right.
deal with that. It is also so much more fuel. Uh, everything is impacted.
That's interesting. I mean, you hear about this stuff, but you don't take into consideration all what it takes to make something like that happen,
Yeah,
and to inject it into a community police force. Wow, that's a lot.
it is a lot.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
I can say that if that came to us, I just don't know how. It will be very interesting, the implementation of of how we would even go about that. I just don't think that it's our role. Again, we have to have the trust of our community to come to us and say, I've been a victim and I need to report this. And if we're busy doing that, we're going to lose the trust of that community. And our immigrant community here in Manor is
Hmm.
large. It's extremely large, and it's not just the Latino. We have a large Asian,
Yeah,
uh,
Indian community also.
Indian, and
Yes.
Asian community. Some of them with immigration statuses, and so it's complex, and it would put a huge burden on us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Can you bring up the comments for me? Yeah, we got one comment. No, over here. Scroll at the bottom to the side. Bottom, bottom row. Scroll to the side. Bottom, bottom row. There you go. Scroll. There you go. You see the little message? There you go. Talking with my producer. Don't worry about it.
You're doing a
uh,
great job.
there it is. Um, so Brandon Cooper says, does the number of officers in Manor match the growth Manor is experiencing compared to surrounding towns? If not, are there funds in place to hire or train more officers? Thank you for your comment.
So, historically in the United States, the size of a police department um, has been based on the population. So,
Okay.
historically, they've said, okay, well, police departments in America need X number of officers for X number of residents. And we have found that that is a little outdated. Right?
Okay.
A lot of our uh, statistics are still based off of that. It's just because the history is there, and so we present those numbers to City Council. And so this year we did a 5-year plan on what it's going to look like as we continue to grow, and so the answer to the question is: are we where we're supposed to be at by those numbers? The answer is no, we're
Okay.
not. But that is because we have growing pains, right? Growing a growing community, we're going to have some growing pains, and we're going to have to pick and choose um, on where money gets allotted. And it's not anything negative about the people who have to make that decision. It's ultimately there's a pie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that pie is the amount of money the city has of tax revenues, and that pie has got to go to water and wastewater and roads and streets and there's so many different people that take a piece of the pie. The police departments is always the largest in public safety, and this is in every city across America. Public safety, fire, and police are always the biggest piece of that pie, and that's mainly just because we are the most employees of the city, right? The sheer number. But if you took the number that we have compared to the data based off of our population,
Mm-hmm.
we're not quite there. But what we also factor in is we look at other statistics. Like when you call 911, how long does it take to get an officer to you? Right? We judge a lot off of that. Um, there, so our average right now is a little bit over 3 minutes.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
Even during rush hour traffic.
Yeah, they give us red and blue lights and a little siren. We get
Okay. Fair enough.
No, yeah, we average that. Now there are times we've had the officer didn't show up here for 15 minutes. Well, we do get tied up on stuff. Walmart is a big consumer of our time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Home Depot is coming in strong. So So we look at a bunch of different statistical data. So are we able to handle what is thrown at us? Absolutely.
Right.
Are we where we're supposed to be at statistically by numbers? Not quite. But if the community came up and they said we want to be at the number that's required, we would break the bank. We'd
Okay.
say everyone's getting a higher tax bill, because we got to hire all these police officers. So again, it comes down to that pie, and we've all got to fit in it, right? So, so are we where we need to be? Not quite. Will we get there? Yes, we will. We'll get there, and the city has a very bright future. All of these things that are coming are amazing, and they're going to help our community get better and better things. A library. I can't tell you. I've been here a long time, since 2008, and I've heard we need a library, we need a library, we need a library, and now that's coming, and that is because of our growth. We're going to achieve things as HEB opens up, and as I don't want to say any of the I'm not supposed to say, but the other stuff that's coming along,
Right.
those all open up. Those open up more opportunities for us.
Right.
And so our future is being laid out in a way where it's going to be great. It's going to be a great community. And people here should be excited about it.
I just hope they can be excited and not crying all the time. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I do want to say he asked about hiring and training. So our city council gives us an amazing training budget, and that is something that I preach to having a successful police department. If you have officers that are untrained, you're going to have officers that are making decisions off of a cuff.
Okay.
And get frustrated. And so we invest heavily into the training of our officers, and it shows. Like I said, we dealt with 70,000 people
Mm-hmm.
in 2024, and in those 70,000 people, we arrested people, we towed people's cars,
Right.
we had to use force on people. We got in car chases with them. So out of 70,000 people, we had 5 complaints on our officers last year.
Just 5.
Just 5.
Well, that's good. I seen one of those police chases.
Yeah.
that was interesting.
They happen. Yeah.
Well, okay. Can you tell us some of those trainings that your officers do?
So we're heavily focused on mental health training. So
Okay.
I don't agree that mental health is a law enforcement issue.
I agree with you.
Because I believe that when somebody's experiencing a crisis, that they are sick.
Mm-hmm.
Same as having a cough or cold or flu, right? You don't call us when you have the flu. And I think that there should be something else figured out for society when somebody else is experiencing something that they need some mental guidance, mental health, right? Services. Unfortunately for us, it has been placed on our shoulders in America today. Law enforcement is the response for mental health. And so having our officers trained in recognizing something is going to hopefully prevent an officer from having to touch somebody or use a taser or, God forbid, a gun on somebody because of their mental health status. And so we focus heavily on the mental health training. But there's all sorts of things. There's interview and interrogation. We have a few getting ready to go to that. That teaches our officers and our detectives on the proper way of asking questions when they may be dealing with somebody who committed a crime.
Okay.
And people aren't always honest with us, if you can believe it.
I don't know why they wouldn't be.
And so we, in service of the victim of that crime, we have to know how to talk to people and how to ask them questions. So, but there's a wide variety. I could go on and on. We send officers every year to class called EVOC. It's Emergency Vehicle Operations. They just got back from that this week. They were there last week. They go to College Station, and they learn how to drive a car. We're taught in the police academy, and we do the little you go around the cone, go around this cone, but you really don't get the understanding of what can your car truly handle. And so they get out onto it's held at an old Air Force base out near College Station, and they have these professional instructors come out, and where that comes in is that reduces our liability and our officers getting in accidents. Does
Okay.
it still happen? Yeah, we drive. I mean, we're on these roads with y'all. There's a lot of cars out there, and not everyone's the best driver. But we want to make sure that our officers are the best drivers. And how can they be evasive when they need to be to avoid an accident? How to handle their vehicles when they're having to chase somebody, and so it's a great school because we also use it as a tool to have the officers bond. It's important that they have a relationship within the department as well, because that gives an opportunity for doing the right thing is contagious, right? And so when they're all buddies and they're all doing the right thing, that's going to be contagious for the next one and the next one and so forth. Okay. So that team building is also important during the week. So they're out there and they're encouraging each other because it's pretty difficult. And they all stay together in an Airbnb, and they eat together, and they use that time to
and like bonding.
Yeah.
So you mentioned training. Is de-escalation training part of police training?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, de-escalation, cultural diversity.
Okay.
I had a lady one time ask me. She said, I want an officer to come to my house that looks like me. And I said, okay. I said, well, what does that mean, and why are you saying that? And she said, well, because culturally, I don't think that another officer would understand. And I said, well, I think really what you are saying is, and I'm going to use some bad language here, so please, if there's any kids, is you don't want an asshole cop coming to serve you, right? Like that's at the end of the day, that's what we all want,
right?
Like, we want somebody that's just going to treat us fair and that's going to do the right thing, even if that means, holding the person accountable if they broke the law. But it's going to be done fairly, and it's going to be done with the least amount of force that's required, and with a little bit of dignity. Walking somebody out in handcuffs in front of all their neighbors, let's try to scoot them along. We're not going to leave them out for display. And there's little things that we have to take into mind that at the end of the day, even though we're arresting this individual, we're still serving that individual. So I think I changed her mind when we had that conversation. I said, it shouldn't matter what religion the person is or whatever. We're coming there with a clean slate. We're going to give you the fair shake, and that's what anybody wants in this. A fair shake at what's going on. Good. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, before I ask that, I don't want to lose my train of thought.
Sure.
Talking with the mayor, I know one of the things that they have been trying to work on is having an EMS in town.
Mm-hmm.
By us not having an EMS in town, how much strain does that put on the officers? Because I see a lot of posts about the helicopters coming in, the life flight people out of town and everything like that.
The stress it adds to us is if it's an extended wait time for what we call the ambulance to get to the scene, right? And that could mean that the officers have to do CPR longer, which is when you're doing it. If you've never given CPR to somebody,
it's tiring.
It's extremely tiring.
Yes.
And you have the human emotion of dealing with that subject or that situation, and it's a lot to deal with. And so, luckily, the fire department usually gets there. Any EMS call, the fire department gets dispatched automatically as well. So if the officers are usually always there on scene first. And so if they're giving CPR, a lot of times the fire department will step in and take over. So it could also mean having the roadways shut down longer. Our officers get frustrated, because that's the big issue here, right? Everyone's get the god dang roads reopened, and well, we're waiting for the ambulance to get here.
Wow. Yeah.
But luckily, I think that if we looked at the times, Austin Travis County EMS serves us so well. They're a top-notch entity, and we just need probably. They're not really staying up with our growth, and we have one truck that they're stationed at an apartment complex out on 290. I don't
Right.
really know
I do.
so that the employees they work 24 or 48 hours on. I can't remember, but while they're there, they live in the apartment. The EMS truck is down below, and they get a call. They run out, and they jump out and get out on 290 and go. Now we have a few other stations that are close, so if that ambulance is dropping a patient off in town and something happens out here, those next trucks are the ones that get sent to respond out. So sometimes the frustration with us with that is just sometimes the wait.
Okay.
The air ambulance, the helicopter comes when it's a critical situation. If you see an ambulance coming, that means somebody needs to get to the hospital really quick.
Okay.
We do that a lot with car accidents because a lot of times there's some internal stuff that may not be seen, by the officers and the firefighters, paramedics on the ground, but they know something's wrong. They know something's going on there. So when minutes count, they're going to call that helicopter, and we're going to land it out here to get somebody on it. So.
Wow. Well, that helps us roll into that next question, which is how many fire departments does Manor have? Do we plan on adding more as the city is growing? I would say yes. I think I can answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about fire department. So the fire department here anywhere in Travis County, outside of the city of Austin, we have what are called ESDs, Emergency Service Districts. And so if you ever look at your tax roll on your property taxes, they have a line there, and so you pay property taxes separate from the city of Manor that go to the ESD. And so they have their own board that is appointed by the Travis County Commissioners Court, and they have their own taxing entity. So they're like their own thing. We work closely with them. Fire and police, we have a love-hate relationship. We love to hate each other.
That's why y'all across the street from each other?
That neighborly love gets interesting sometimes. But they're great. They're professional people. They're top-notch. But they're not funded through the city.
Right.
So I don't know what their plans are. They're building a new station out on 290, which looks like it's going to be amazing. And just like us, they run off of statistical data. They look at how long is it taking a fire engine to get from point A to point B. They're looking at, fire extinguisher or fire plugs in neighborhoods and a lot of different components that I really don't play with. I think that if I recall, we either have 3 or 4 stations because I think there's a engine 1204. So we have 1201, which is the original one that's across the street from the police department, and then we have 1202, 1203, and I believe that there might be a 1204.
Okay.
So each of those engines belongs to a firehouse. But they watch the growth. The fire inspectors do the inspections when you build a home. They're our fire department, but they're their own entity, and their lines go outside the city limits. They go into Austin direction a little bit. They go south towards Whisper Valley. So their area is greater than the footprint of the city of Manor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You would think if that's the case, they do need to have more stations.
They really do. Yeah.
Wow. We might have to get them in here next.
Yeah. Sure.
Just everybody get their story. So okay, that's cool. Cause I wrote that down. I didn't want to forget that.
Yeah.
Okay. So nothing came out of that conversation. So I'm gonna go back to my list of questions. So the next question we had was Manor has been growing rapidly in the recent years. How has this growth impacted the Manor Police Department, and what steps are you taking to ensure our police force can keep up with the expanding community?
Yeah. Well, we go back to statistical data. We watch
Right.
the number of calls, the number of crimes being committed. Are they types of crimes that we can prevent? And what are those prevention measures? A big piece is our we use as our public community programs to educate the public. We have one that we just did that we go to. We have two apartment complexes here in Manor that are age restricted. So you
Okay.
have to be over an age. Age both you might be 55 or 65
Okay.
to
Okay.
live in the community, and that particular that particular group is over the minutes now. Easy going. Um, so we
Oh.
at all.
It's very low.
All right. Wait one. That should fix it.
They come loose.
It start having feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got to be in front and behind the camera. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So I was saying, with the older people in town, we put on a class that educates them about scams and fraud. These people that are calling and saying, "I'm Officer so and so with the Manor Police Department," or "I'm Officer Detective so and so with the Travis County Sheriff's Office. You have a warrant, and if you don't pay right now, I'm going to come and arrest you." And it's like, that's generally not how we conduct business. And then they say, okay, well, you got to pay by Bitcoin or by
Gift card.
gift cards. Yeah. And, it's comical in that we know that would never be. The
Right.
government official is never going to ask you for payment by Bitcoin or by gift card. But I will tell you that they scare these people so badly that they believe them, and before you know it, they've given them their savings account. And so we try to prevent that, and we put on these classes. We put on robbery prevention or robbery response training for all of our financial institutions in town. So luckily, banking has evolved so much over the last handful of years. If you go in to rob a bank, and hopefully a bank robber is listening right now, if you go in to rob a bank, you're not going to get money. The machines that they use nowadays they do not give the tellers access to hand out a large amount of cash, and that's just the technology now. But in the event that they do experience that, we teach the employees of the financial institutions what we're looking for. What do they need to pay attention to? What is our response going to look like? Because it's going to be a lot of people with guns, and they're probably not going to be nice, right, at the initial start of it. And we encompass after the pandemic, we encompassed a portion of it that talks about dealing with the Karen, right, the person that comes in that
Right.
is unreasonable, because you see like these 20-year-old people, youngsters that are getting their first job, and they're standing as a teller of a bank or at the backside of a fast food restaurant, and they've never dealt with conflict like that.
Right.
And so they don't know what to do or how to handle that. And most people don't know that you don't have to put up with that. Like, yes, this facility is open to the public, but it's privately owned. And that manager or that employee can ask you to leave, and all they have to ask you is one time. And if you don't, you're trespassing on their property. And um, so the day of the Karen now, we encompass that into training, into helping young people dealing with conflict on how to appropriately deal with that, right? Um,
So just to be clear, it's the person that comes in and they completely irate with the employees and everything, and they're trying to come at them and stuff,
yeah,
and how the employees can deal with them, and the fact that they don't have to deal with them.
they don't have to deal with them,
Okay.
right? It's private property, and that employee represents the business and can say, get out. And if you don't, then you may be committing a crime.
Okay.
And so, but having a 20-year-old who's never experienced conflict does not know or does not have the knowledge of what to say or how to handle the situation. I can't put them through an entire de-escalation class.
Right.
But I can say that you have the right to not be a victim of that, right? And you can call 911, or you can simply ask them to leave. And if they don't, then call us and we'll take care of the situation.
Okay. Well, as you was talking, I thought about something that I think is very important, especially in this day and age, which is sad. I hate to even bring it up. School safety
Mm,
and response to situations that happen in schools.
sure.
How are you ready for situations like that, to respond to situations like that and to deal with it?
Yeah.
With not just the police response, but the aftermath of it.
Yeah. We train every year with so Manor ISD has their own police department.
Okay.
Chief Yarborough there at Manor ISD is a great guy, great leader of that institution, and every summer is our opportunity while the kids are out of school. We band together, our officers and their officers, and we practice drills and training on what that response is going to look like and our partnership in that response. A lot of lessons have been learned, unfortunately, because we've had enough situations that every one of them should be used as a learning lesson by law enforcement, anyways. Other people, not so much, but we take note of what went right, what went wrong in those encounters, and then we put them into our own practices.
Okay.
Uvalde was a mess.
Yes.
And there were a lot of lessons learned. And so, is every response going to be perfect? No, but we all know the responsibilities or the roles that we have when we're going to something.
Right.
Right. And so, our officers, Manor ISD officers, we are prepared for whatever. And at the end of it, can I say, is it going to be perfect? No. I can't say it's going to be perfect. I hope that it's perfect. But we train and we prepare, and we have competent people that know what they're doing.
Okay. That was really good. You answered pretty much everything I could come up with. Moving on to the next question. Well, I take that back. So now we talked about the school safety, emergency response, like the flooding that we had this year in 4th of July,
Yeah.
and city emergencies and things like that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the preparedness we have for that?
Sure. A great lesson that was provided to us was the Snowmageddon. We're all living without electricity. Gosh, wow. But that provided us a lesson in preparedness and in response.
Mm-hmm.
And so shortly after that, we brought on a emergency manager for the city of Manor.
Right.
Works with at the police department. Her name is Robbie Barrera. She was a Texas DPS trooper for many years.
Wow.
And then she was hired on, and I can't remember her last role. I think it had a chief title at Texas Division of Emergency Management. And we were fortunate enough to get her to leave them and come to work for us.
Okay.
And so she is responsible for preparedness and looking at the weak points that the city has. Um, our personal preparedness is key, and she's going to be pushing out some information and developing a class. And we have a group here in Manor that actually just took a class with her. I can't remember what they're called right now, but personal preparedness is key, because when a disaster strikes, um, our everyone is busy, right? And so we want people to be in a position to take care of themselves,
Okay.
right? So let's say a tornado comes through town, right? And a tornado comes through. That's pretty isolated.
Mm-hmm.
That situation would be pretty easy to manage. We know people are going to need homes, right? They've lost their homes. They may need immediate medical help. There may be gas leaks because houses are ripped off their foundations. There's going to be different things that that a tornado would produce. There may be street damage and anything you can imagine. What Robbie does is she ensures that when that happens, the appropriate people and the appropriate teams are brought in to get everything back on track.
Okay.
We have American Red Cross on speed dial. They're going to come in. They're going to say, okay, how many houses need hotels for a week? How can we help you file your insurance claim?
Okay.
How can we get you on the path to recovery? The next door neighbors, if their house wasn't touched, great. Y'all are prepared. Y'all may need water for a few days because the water system's down. Y'all got that. And so everyone kind of has a key role. And her job is to be that center person that ensures that all of the people that need to be coming and playing ball here are playing ball.
So she's the one at the hub that's sending out all the calls to get everybody together.
Yeah.
And she has the playbook of all the people that need to come together for a certain emergency.
Yeah.
All right.
And Texas, so Texas has something called the STAR program, where anything when a disaster occurs, the mayor will declare a disaster for the city of Manor.
Okay.
Right? Then the next step is for the county to declare a disaster declaration, and then the state. Every time one of those happens, doors open. Right?
Okay.
So when the mayor has declared a disaster declaration, that means there are doors open. And so Robbie gets on there, and we stand up a emergency operations center, and she says, state of Texas, we need this, 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 and this. And that's through that STAR system, those things come in, and we get support from the state or the county level, wherever it needs to come from.
Okay. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And you took it a bit further than the mayor did.
Yeah.
But it sounds like y'all on top of it.
We try to be.
And he said the same thing you said, that the polar vortex was an eye-opener.
Yeah, it was. But, we lived through it, right?
Right.
I don't think, in Manor, we didn't have any deaths. So it was a disaster. It was a moment that we will all remember.
Right.
Not fondly, but it provided us what we needed to learn things. And so are all those, is that negative thing a complete waste on it? No, it wasn't a waste. It was a great lesson for us to be prepared for whatever God throws at us next.
Well, yeah, I think you said it best. It was an eye-opener. Like, okay, we made it through this, but we could do it a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. I did too. I need to start keeping emergency food.
Yeah.
I got to keep some emergency water. Just in case something happens, a generator, because I don't want to be in that situation again.
Yeah, I think we all bought generators, right? So we got every house got a generator. We'll probably never have a snowstorm like that again. I'm not on wood, but
because it's pretty cool outside now.
We're all prepared, like here we're all sitting with these generators.
Yeah,
anyway.
Now we have to do some education on not to run a generator in the house.
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't want to ask a question that we pretty much touched on.
Yeah.
But this is something we talked about at the 290 extension. And if you don't know about the 290 extension, please just Google it. Put your survey in. Yes. Don't complain on Facebook about 290. Tell them about it. Tell them what your complaints are so we can start moving forward with this project. And if you don't want it, let them know. Yes. But let your voice be heard. Okay. But we talked about this at the 290 extension. Building trust between law enforcement and the community is crucial. What initiatives and programs does the Maine Police Department have in place to strengthen the relationships? You talked about coffee with cops.
Uh-huh.
And I think before this, we was talking about like ride-alongs.
Yeah, we have a ride along program. So if you want to come and ride out with an officer, you do have to pass a small little background check because we can't have crazy people riding, getting into trouble. So
Okay.
it's a quick form just saying, hey, if things get crazy, you're not going to sue the department. You recognize you're riding with some police.
Yeah.
But we've never had anything like that. But it's a lot of fun, and it gives a perspective, and I'm big on perspective, right? I like to have perspectives from a lot of different views because my way doesn't mean it's the right way.
Okay.
And I like to see the way other people live and the way other people think, and I like our officers to go through that as well. But perspective for the public to come and ride with the officers and see what they do. And I always recommend, Friday or Saturday night is what I recommend because it's going to be a little different than a Monday night, right? Sometimes Monday nights get a little crazy, but you're going to experience and get to see your community from another angle, right?
Okay.
And so I think that it's a positive thing. Sometimes the officers get a little grumpy. I don't want to ride her tonight. But at the end of it, they recognize the impact that it's had, and it really does. People just get that different perspective and see what their community is like after dark, on Friday, Saturday night. So.
Are there any concerns about the rider being in danger or anything if they went along?
There's always that because of the nature of our job.
Okay.
Right. And so there are a few things the officers can't do if they have a rider. If a car chase starts, sometimes in the past, and that's happened, if the officer can say, hey, I'm going to drop you off because of this situation is too much for you to be here, they will do that. So like a car chase, they're not going to take a person, a rider, on a car chase with
right.
them. The danger level is just too high. Now, if we go to a hotshot call where it's just complete chaos and that person's there, the officer may be like, "Remember that form you signed? Well, here we go." And say a little prayer, but they stay in the car.
Okay.
We've never had an incident where I
Okay.
think anybody felt in too much danger. So, but it is definitely something that I recommend people, especially people who don't have a connection to law enforcement, who maybe have some questions about law enforcement. You can talk to the officer and ask questions and become informed and learn a little bit while you're out there. Another program we do that I love is we do a Citizens Police Academy.
Okay.
It's 10 weeks long. It's only one night for 10 weeks, so it's only 10 classes. And we provide dinner. Our local restaurants donate dinners for the class. And it is such a good time, but it gives a perspective, right? We go over every aspect of the police department. What do the detectives do? What are the different detectives in CID? We've got a property crimes detective.
Okay.
We've got a persons crime detective. We've got a child abuse detective. So we've got these people who are specially trained in investigating crimes of certain types, right? And so in that class, you get to kind of learn what the inner workings are of the department and how we go from point A to point B. We are one piece of the criminal justice system,
Okay.
right? And we're the beginning piece. We take the package of what is the criminal or the case, and we present that to the prosecutors in the court. And then from there, we don't have anything else to do, and we may get subpoenaed to go testify in court. Other than that, after we deliver the package, we don't have anything else to do with it. Victim services goes a little further than we do because the criminal justice system is complex, and most people don't go through it. And I hope that most people don't have to navigate it as a victim. But in the instances that they do, we have victim services that help navigate them past us delivering that package to the court system.
Okay.
So
So we kind of touched on it before the show, and I think it's important with touching base with the community. There's a lot of distrust in the community with the
sure,
police.
yeah,
Um, Accountability when it comes down to, because you said that you only had 5 complaints
mhm,
last year, which is great.
yeah.
But let's say you had more complaints.
Mhm.
How would you deal with that? Because I don't think the public really
Sure.
understands how it's
Yeah.
dealt with.
So if a complaint comes into the police department and it is of criminal nature,
Right.
right? The officer, when he was doing X, Y, or Z, he, stole something, or there's a criminal element. We have a partnership with the Texas Rangers,
Okay.
and so a Texas Ranger will come out and they will investigate the criminal side of that complaint. On the other side of that the criminal aspect is the internal, the policy violations, right? We have policies and procedures that the officers work by, and obviously, if they've stolen something or done something that violates the law, they violated a policy. So internally, we have what's called an IA investigator, internal affairs investigator,
Right.
who takes the complaint and does an investigation on the allegations on the non-criminal aspect, the policy side of it. And then that comes together, and if there is enough evidence that a crime was committed, it goes to a grand jury, and if we find that he or she violated the law, then a warrant, and they go to jail just like anybody else. If it is solely a policy violation, where okay, what the complaint is saying didn't actually occur like this, but it still violated this policy, well, then that is going to say, okay, well, this complaint is sustained because it violated policy X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And then it goes up the chain of command to my desk, where it can result in termination, demotion, days off without pay, additional training,
Okay.
a wide variety of different things, and or all of them, or some of them. Not just, they don't just get one, and that's determined on the severity and what policy is violated. And okay, well, she's saying that this is missing. Well, the officer didn't document this, and that was the violation. So we're going to ensure that the officer receives training to where next time he's dealing with that, well, you need to make sure that that's documented correctly,
Okay.
right? And you're getting a day off without pay because you were taught that in your FTO program when you became an officer here. And so here we have it documented that you were taught that. So you knew you should have done that. So you're going to get training and you're going to get a day off without pay for not doing that. Right. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay. Make sure I get this correct. Okay. So I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Okay.
So a lot of people believe that there's that blue line
Yeah.
that, so a lot of times the officer may do something, but it's overlooked, or it's a slap on the wrist or something like that. How do you ensure people that that's not what's happening, and that you are taking all complaints and everything seriously?
Well, I go back to the statistics of it,
Okay.
right? And say, well, I can guarantee you that does not happen in our department.
Okay.
Okay. What other departments do, I can't say. I'm not running those departments.
Fair enough.
But in our department, it is at the core that we're going to do what's right, right? And so when an officer doesn't do what's right, whether it's a law violation or policy violation, it's going to be swiftly and correctly handled. But if remind me the question at the core.
Oh, just will it just be covered up? Will it just be a slap on the wrist just because you protected one of your own?
Yeah, so that goes back to the statistics.
Okay.
If the officers knew that they worked for a department where they could get away with doing stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
then they would do stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay, and then that would reflect in the number of complaints we had on our employees, because you have some officer that knows, hey, I can be a jackass and I can go and do X, Y, or Z because I know That's not going to happen to me. And then they're going to go out there and do that to people, and then those people are going to complain, and they're going to start saying our police are corrupt, and there's going to be all
Right.
this talk, and that doesn't happen. We don't have that. That reflects in dealing with 70,000 people last year
Right.
and having 5 complaints, right? And like I said, keeping in mind in those 70,000 people, we arrested a whole bunch of them. We towed cars. We held accountable people that would send frustration or send them saying, "Well, I can complain against the officer," but they didn't because they were probably treated fairly. They just recognized we have a job to do. We have to hold people accountable when they break the law, right? And so if the officers were out there doing bad things, that would reflect in complaints and issues against the department.
Okay.
Right.
Man, I love it. That's great. All right, let's get another question. If y'all have some questions, here's the time to put them out here because we're not gonna be on here too much longer because we like to go to sleep. Let's go into no, you talked about that, man. You got to get out my questions because you getting all the answers. Okay, what are the top 3 things you would recommend Manor residents do to help keep themselves and their families safe?
Lock your cars.
Okay.
Lock your doors. Know your surroundings. Be smart about it. We've seen time and time again walking through life unaware
Mm-hmm.
is sometimes an invitation, right, to being a victim. And so, and that is in no way blaming a victim for being a victim of a crime, but having awareness of your surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
of possibilities, is important, especially in this day and age.
Right.
So I would say that that's important. If God gave us a sixth sense where sometimes things aren't right, and I hear this a lot. Like people say, "Well, I saw him, doing that, but I didn't know, so I just didn't do anything." I'm like, that was your sixth sense telling you, and that's what we're here for. Just call 911.
Yeah.
Say, "Hey, something's not right. I just saw this, and something's not sitting right with me. Can you have an officer come and check?" Officer roll by. If there's nothing, there's nothing. If there's somebody we need to talk to, we'll talk to them. But at the end of the day, we checked it out, and that's what's going to build a safe community. It takes it. I can't have an officer in every neighborhood, at every moment of every day of every night.
Yeah, you ain't got enough people for that.
Right. I can't have them in every gas station, at every intersection. There's so much demand and need for our services. But at the end of the day, there's only so many of us.
Right.
And so being aware and utilizing that sixth sense, even by yourself. I'm not saying you have to call in every person because that's not what we want either. But if something is just not right, you're given that sixth sense. We've all experienced that.
Right.
If you're driving home and you see a car that's just not right, call it in. Nothing can come of it. So that's what we're here for. And we want people to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to feel safe when you're at home in Manor. And I think you should feel safe. We don't have a lot of issues that should make you feel unsafe. But it is those little things that chip away at that feeling. Somebody getting in your car and stealing the change out of the couple.
Right.
It's those little things that chip away at that safe feeling.
Right.
And then the chatter online, I got my car broken into, then all the chatter that comes with it. And somebody from Pflugerville chimes in that had nothing to do with Manor. Or the person from Georgetown. Oh, well, my car got broken into. Well, you're in Georgetown. Call them. It's those little things that chip away at the safety. But
Right.
I can tell you, if we all kind of just, back after 9/11, there was a big push for see something, say something.
Right.
And it stands true today. If you see something that just, is off cue, just call. Nothing can come of it if it's nothing, right? So I think that's what the advice I would give. we're all going to have to live through our traffic issues. That we get blamed a lot of that. They think that we control the traffic lights, and we don't.
Okay.
And there, one little accident will set off a 1,000-mile line of traffic. We understand that. We try to work as hard and as diligent as we can to get things moved along. And sometimes people drive by and they're like, "Y'all are just standing there. Get the Okay,
Do people do that?
Oh yeah, we get all sorts of things. But again, do a ride out and you get a different perspective. A lot of times we can't. The officers may be standing there talking, but we're waiting for that ambulance or
Right.
we're waiting for the tow truck who is stuck in the traffic that you're stuck in. And so the situation just presents itself. So as much as we want y'all to have the roadways of working traffic lights and no issues, we want the same thing. Because I always tell people, like, when we don't have those red and blue lights on, we're sitting in that traffic with you. So we know the frustration. We know that light only lets 3 cars through. And all the things that we hear those complaints about, we know we sit through it and we don't control it. We can call TxDOT and say, "Hey, this light's only letting 3 cars." Well, thank you for calling, and that's it. And then nothing gets done. They want to hear from taxpayers, and squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
If it's us, they don't want to hear from us. But things are going to get worse before they get better, and I say that there's going to be something, whether it's the toll road or whatever happens that comes through.
Right.
It's going to cause a lot of construction and a lot of mess and a lot of diversion and a lot of this, and that's going to be the part where we're going to have to band together and get through, because that's going to be a challenge.
Oh yeah, you got some mad people now. Just wait. Oh boy, they're gonna be irate.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's use this last. We're gonna stop at 9:30.
Okay.
What do you want to put out there, Chief Phipps?
I think right now in our country, I think everybody needs to take a breath. There's a lot of division and a lot of negativity out there. And if we all step back, and I'm going to use the word perspective again, we are all so fortunate and lucky outside of our frustrations of life, which how lucky are we that we have those frustrations? At the end of the day, how lucky are we to have frustration? Because, we're all in this together.
Right.
We got to get through it. And we got to get through it and do it the best we can, and not take advantage of each other and not use each other to step on to get to the next ring.
Wow.
So what I would like to see is some practices in civility and some hugs. People need to hug it out. And we all just need to take a step back and at the end of the day realize that we're just here to be good people, right? Just treat each other well. And that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I never expected in a million years I would hear a police chief say that. And like, y'all need to do this and that. I don't know. And I just got to be honest. From my younger years, and my involvement with police wasn't always great. And, I've had, I can't lie, I still have what's the word?
Anxiety?
I don't have anxiety no more because I'm old. But I have this image of police, and it's the same image that grew from when I was younger.
Yeah.
Now I know better as I'm older, but it's hard to shake that.
Yeah.
And for me to sit here and talk with you, man, I would have never thought in a million years that I would have done that. But what I realized in my older years is that one is easy to hate somebody that you don't know.
Amen.
And I would rather sit down and talk with you and find out who you are because past the uniform, you're still a person.
Absolutely.
And when you talk to somebody and you hear them talk, you like you said, people have intuition.
Yeah.
People know when they're getting bullshit.
Yeah.
And I know when I first met you,
Mhm.
you know, I didn't know. I didn't know you from Moses.
Yeah.
And when I first met you, I instantly knew that you weren't bullshitting me. And you were genuine. And the reason why I knew that, you shook my hand. Because I knew we emailed and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But you shook my hand when you found out who I was. And it's something that Obama said. He said you can shake somebody's hand and it's just a handshake. But when you shake somebody's hand, you put your hand on their elbow.
Yeah.
That means that that person means something to you. And when they put their hand on your shoulder,
Yeah.
it means even more. And
Yeah.
so when you shook my hand, you put your hand on my shoulder, and I was like, well, wow. And so that told me about your character without you even saying anything.
Yeah.
And so everything you said after that, I listened to it and I heard exactly what I heard tonight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could be bullshitting me. I don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
not bullshitting.
But
I'm not bullshitting.
I really don't believe that you are
Yeah.
in my heart of hearts.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I got past my discomfort to
Yeah.
sit down and talk with you because I've only been in Manor for 2 years, but I feel like I'm a part of Manor.
Yeah.
And with all the hate and discontent I keep hearing, I don't want to add to that. I want to be different and I want to bring something different.
Yeah.
And if I can just be the voice of reason and sit here and take myself out of a comfortable spot and be able to sit here and talk with you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a better person for it, and we can be a better Manor for it,
Yeah.
and we can have all the things that we say we want.
Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I didn't know I touched your shoulder, but that worked great. No, I agree. And, if you had bad experiences in law enforcement, I think that is something that is all too common. And it's not, not just with African American community. I think that a lot of people have had, like I said before, that asshole cop. We just don't want that. Like, we have a job to do. We have to hold people accountable, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes to be held accountable and told that they were wrong or there's a problem. And nobody likes the message that we come to bring when in our official capacity. But it has to be done. Right. And so, if you had bad experiences, I will apologize on behalf of the profession.
Right.
Because, but it's a different day. It's a different day, and the law enforcement is only going to continue to get better because the next generation, as we continue to grow, it will make it better and better. But at the end of the day, we're here to serve people.
Right.
We're here to serve people, victims, when they're in the worst situations they ever imagined themselves to be in. We're here to serve people when they've made a bad decision and got behind the wheel of a car and maybe killed somebody. That's what we're here for. But we don't have to do it in a way that is ugly towards people, right? Am I saying that our officers are perfect and everyone's entitled to a bad day?
Yeah.
But I tell my officers, make sure your bad day is kept inside the car, and when you step out to serve somebody, you treat them exactly how you would want to be treated. And I'll tell you, I said anxiety earlier because people are like, I get pulled over and I get so nervous. And I can tell you, as a police officer for many years now, and the chief of police, I still get pulled over. I have a heavy foot. So. I don't give speeding tickets because I'm like, I don't want to be a hypocrite. But I have a little bit of heavy foot. But I get pulled over on occasion, and I can tell you, I get nervous too. It is a normal human experience to feel nervousness when somebody with authority is coming to tell you did something wrong, right? And so I don't like to discredit people's feelings,
Right.
right? And so you have a nervousness feeling dealing with us, anybody. I say that is completely normal. I experienced the same thing, and I've been on this side for a long time, and yet when I get pulled over, I still get that feeling. And so I think we have to realize that as people, that's just normal for all of us to experience that.
You know, I don't get the anxiety no more because of good cops.
Mm.
I've been pulled over by. I got pulled over in Pflugerville,
Mm-hmm.
and that officer was so nice
Yeah.
that I thanked him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, why are you thanking me?" I was like, You just don't understand because
Yeah.
that wasn't my experience."
Yeah.
And it was always like, like I just punched his wife. When he comes to the car, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. So, but yeah, the anxiety went away once I started having better experiences. And you're right, it's a different age.
Yeah.
I saw it change from when I was in my 20s in the 90s
Yeah.
compared to in the 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah, policing has changed. And definitely, I would say policing has changed after the George Floyd
For
incident.
sure. When you look at history, not just George Floyd, you can go back you can go to a lot of different encounters where law enforcement needed to be held accountable for how they served their community. Right? George Floyd was a breaking point.
Okay.
There was so much before George Floyd.
Yeah.
That community was mad at their police department, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. You had a whole community that did not trust their police department, and so that situation, again, horrible, but it provided us a learning experience. And are we all better for it? Probably, but it's unfortunate we had to go through that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, was it in vain? No, because we all learned something and we all grew from it. Hopefully. Well, I can't speak for every police department in America.
Right.
Because there are a lot of challenges, and I know that I don't agree with a lot of other law enforcement leaders and how they lead their organization. But that's not my role to critique them or whatever. That is their community's role to say, this is not the type of policing that we want or need. We want police officers that work with our community, that yes, have to hold people accountable, yes,
Right.
that have to write tickets, yes, that have to arrest people, and yes, that have to use force against people, as long as that force is within reason, right? As long as that what y'all are doing at the end of the day, you get the handcuffs on the person and you take them to jail, and now the court's problem, right? So George Floyd was a horrific thing and an embarrassment, in this profession. But we all learned something from it. We are all better because of it. So was it a complete loss? Maybe not. I don't know.
And with that said, any last remarks?
No. Let's hug it out.
All right. I appreciate you coming in, man. You really want to hug it out? All right. And with that, man, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to sit here and make a commitment to y'all right here. When I was at that 290 extension, a guy came up and said that he watched the show. He had some critiques from me and some. Yeah, it was constructive. So I'm going to take it on board, but I'm going to commit to starting to do this a lot more, put more into it, because I really feel like the community needs this. And hopefully I can sit down with you and
Sure.
we can start doing some like updates and stuff for the city. And I think it's important for y'all to sit up here and engage with the city, the police. Hopefully I can get Fire in here or anybody else that y'all want to hear from, and send in your questions. Don't just go back and forth with assumptions. Let's find out. And let's get some good news coming out of Manor besides all of the hate and tragedy. But I want to make that commitment to y'all and start putting more into this. And with that said, I appreciate y'all watching. Chief Phipps, appreciate you watching. And until next time, peace.